Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So today we are actually going to be reviewing Squid Game season 3. This is the final season of this version of Squid Game. I have my good friend Pick a Flic podcast with me. We're going to be reviewing this show. So let's go on ahead. Let's dive into Squid Game season 3.
You can't see me.
Okay. But man, welcome back. I do appreciate you coming back on here. Last time we did the studio, now here we are doing the final season of Squid Game season 3. So before we get into it, we have 456 players, one prize, zero chill. This season, we saw more brutal betrayal than a group chat with exes. Plot twist, check blood buckets, emotional trauma therapy, fully booked, and not to mention, and let's be honest, we all would have been out by game 2. That hopscotch was rigged. So grab your green tracksuit, dodge the red light, and join us as we dive into Squid Game season 3, where the real winners are the ones who survived the cliffhangers. So let's talk about this, man. Like, I remember talking about season 2 with Mika, and my whole entire thing was I was just thinking that this was going to end with the main player where he's going to wind up becoming the person he does not want to become, which he would be the front man for this organization, which I thought would be poetic in a sense where, he kills this person, but there's also going to be another one in line. Like the front man said, yeah, you kill me, but I have to replace somebody else. So that's what I was thinking that they were going to go with. But I'm glad that they didn't go that route. But I thought that was pretty interesting that I thought that. But what do you think?
Yeah, man, I was just hoping that, through it all, our guy, 456, he was gonna stick through it to the end. I mean, he beat it the first time, that was very traumatic. And let's hope that he, could beat it the second time. And that's not exactly what I was expecting at the end. But kind of as the episode started winding down, I kind of figured like, I feel like something sad is gonna end for this arc for this particular character. And yeah, but such it is. Overall, I mean, some of the twists and turns they did with this season it was a little more easy to lock in. But I guess having the previous season kind of helped with that, and not that it took too long to come out. Because what was the gap between season 1 and 2? Like 2 years,
Yeah, it was
maybe
about 2
3.
years because don't forget, it came out during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then when they announced that, hey, we're going to come out with a season 2 of Squid Game, right? So it's been what, 3? I would say about maybe 3 years since the last Squid Game,
65 years
probably.
old. I've gone gray, and still, I saw
But
the end.
at the same time, though, I was wondering at that time was like, is this show going to be as popular as it was back in 2020? Because of the fact there's a lot of stuff now coming out versus how it was in 2020, and this was a bingeable series. And lo and behold, it's still beloved by everybody. And people still love it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this show. But what I wanted to mention is this. So it opens up with hide and seek for this episode. For this at the very start of season 3. And I thought it was very different and very unique of them to try and do a hide and seek episode. But I like how everything is detailed where the captains get the keys, and then you have the other people who winds up getting knives. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with a key? But you better hope that no one else is behind that door that they're opening either.
Yep.
Even though they're going through different parts of the mazes and stuff like that. But I thought it was very cool on how they handled that. And then I'm also thinking to myself with this girl being pregnant, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good because what if the baby is born? Because remember when season 3, whenever I mentioned the fact that it would suck if she had to give birth during Squid Game?
Yeah.
And so episode B, she does go into labor during Squid Game, during hide and seek. There's games that you don't want to give birth to this in the game.
Hide and seek.
Hide and seek is one of those games that you don't want, and even jump rope. You don't want to do that either.
Now you just imagine various games that you don't want to give birth during. Basketball, the baby might get thrown into the shot. Oh my God, is
But
that a baby? No, but yeah, yeah, hide and seek.
but I just felt bad for the trans character because I was rooting for her
Mhm.
because she's the only one that basically didn't change through the whole entire season. She was in it with this woman who is pregnant. She's also got the mother that's also there with the cowardly kid that with the glasses that
Yeah,
doesn't is not even tough or anything. But
yeah.
the mother told him, "You need to go ahead and kill me. I lived a good life. It's now your turn to go ahead and live your life." But he doesn't do that. And
Mm.
then you have this ghost whisperer woman who thinks that she can talk to you know what I'm saying? Like she's supposed to be a
She cracked me up, man. When she got the key and unlocked one of the doors and let her team in. Like, come on, everybody. Went in for a second, ran back out, and they just got shanked. I said, that is so foul. Like, how do you do that?
and then
So
how she
evil.
pauses everybody's like, okay. Then you see the ear twitching, right?
Yes,
And then she's like, "Ah, this way.
I have a vision.
I have a vision. Just stop me." And then she goes into the door and then quickly she comes out of it. Just like in GTA 5 online.
Right.
But, I just thought that was like, I just knew that she wasn't who she said she was or anything like that
Hmm.
either. I'm like, why are you following this woman? This woman's crazy, but you think that she's gonna be able to save you and save the people around you? I would be better off with the trans character that
Yeah.
actually cares about someone versus this way. But then you also have the father who's actually you know what I'm saying, the father who is with the pregnant woman is he's looking for her through hide and seek as well, not to kill her, but try to be with her. And then he winds up killing after all that time of him going to find her.
Hmm.
He winds up killing. He winds up find. It's just dark in a sense of the people that I was looking for is the person that I wind up killing.
Yeah. That was that was rough. That whole entire thing. Looking into her
And
face, it was just gosh, ugh, heartbreaking. Go ahead.
but then you also have this whole entire stare off before that happens too. You know what I'm talking about? Like at night,
Yes, that really thing with 456 is staring.
it reminds me of like a cat, where he's just like looking at
Yeah.
the human that's supposed to be taking care of him. But those death glares, though, was like, okay, this guy's in a dark place, and I don't blame him because if it wasn't for this guy, for him, people they
Hmm.
might have actually had a chance to survive. But he just froze up the whole entire time and didn't even bring the ammo back or anything either. So you know, but the hide and seek game was really good. The woman giving birth within the hide and seek was horrifying to actually see because you don't know if
Yeah.
who's going to be coming behind that door, whether one of the captains going to go on ahead and shank them.
That was stressful. Oh my gosh.
And then the trans character winds up finding the exit, and
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, this is good. And then right then and there, not he winds up uh, dying by the hands of the father of the woman that's pregnant,
Shanked.
and it just sucks because I was rooting for her the whole entire time because she was the only one that I felt like it had some good in her,
Hmm.
aside from the woman that's pregnant and aside from the mother of that coward. But then you have the other player that's also looking for the other guy too, though. You know, looking for Kang D Ho
Dio.
and D Ho. But what was your initial thoughts of this whole entire maze match with everybody walking through and stuff?
This is probably my favorite game in a bit of a morbid way of this entire season. And just the way that it's just so dim and dark, and anything can happen at any particular moment. You kind of at the edge of your seat because there's a lot of good characters in here that are doing good for the others, just like the trans character. You don't want to see them get killed off, but I mean they're the one with the keys, so they really don't have as much of an advantage as the one with the knives. But there are some that are willing to kind of fight them off, and they do for like a little bit of a time period, but eventually, power of the shank is just too strong. But for that ending, the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I was struggling to hold back tears. I don't know about you, between the mom
Me
and the
too.
cowardly son. Yeah.
Oh, I was not expecting that to go the way it did.
Me neither. I was like, I came here to, have fun with the darkness, not get emotional.
And yeah, 007 winds up dying in this. And the way he went out, we already knew that he wasn't going to survive this
Hmm.
because he always held back. In my opinion, he always held back from doing what he was supposed to do. He was not a leader. He was more of a follower than anything. And the mother even told him he was also a coward. And
Carol's man.
they both wind up dying.
Yep.
But even the doors, though, like if you think about it like this, though, each door that you open could also lead to your death.
That's true because somebody could be behind them.
But not only that, but look, there's actually it reminds me of Looney Tunes, where you have a door and then you open it, and then there's someone falling in the cliff off the cliff.
Oh yeah, that would have been an interesting twist of the door when you unlock it. They could just end up going right down into an abyss with sandworms or something. That would have been an
Right.
interesting twist.
They've definitely spent their budget well if they did that,
Right. Like, oh my God. Sandworms.
right? I can see, wow, the front man really spent a lot of money on his budget this time.
He sure did. Player number eliminated by sandworms.
Worms. But then you have that showdown between uh our main character,
Yep,
where
G1, 456. After that stare
yeah,
down.
456, and they wind up fighting against each other.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that he was going to go in and just kick him down there and everything and stuff like that because of the fact that they're both fighting. I'm like, it would have been cool if it's like this is Squid Game, just kicks him down.
Yeah, just give him a little kick. A little kick wouldn't hurt your body. You know, I wouldn't have blamed them. This is what 2 days of starving does to somebody. You just want to, kick somebody down during the game where it's life or death. But he was holding back. I was proud of him on that.
Right? But yeah,
Until it got
now
knocked out.
let's talk about this. So finally, we actually have the baby and stuff, and then then we see the people that's over this whole entire Squid Game thing, the other people watching it, and like, well, what's going to happen now? Now that she's gave birth, then the front is like, I'm going to make that baby a player. So now the baby is a player. And now the mother is, now you actually have that scene with their jump rope scene.
Yeah, that was. Oof.
And all I could think was shaken baby syndrome.
Yes, that shaken CGI baby. Imagine. That's a terrible way to get something like that. But I mean, at least with that game, you can kind of tell that it's probably not going to end well, and lives are definitely going to be lost here.
But you know
Yeah,
what though? I felt bad for the baby. Even though it
I
was a
did.
CGI baby, it still gave me a chance to
Yes,
care about the
very
baby.
clearly CGI when we saw the introduction. I said, this is very clearly CGI. The front man is cheap. Even
It
CGI
wasn't
babies.
the front man's fault that he had it is his fault that he had a pregnant woman in there, but it's not his fault by the way the baby looked.
I don't know why I'm treating it like he's the creator of the show, just like he is the game. It's like, give him a fake CGI baby. We know that baby's not real.
But it
Lavender
made me
child.
have that emotional attachment to the baby though, and wanting player 456 to hold on to the baby and care for the
Yeah.
baby. too. So it's like, okay, it's a CGI baby, but I care about it because I'm invested into this story. And all I could think about is he's jumping up and down with the baby tied to him on his chest.
Yeah.
And all I could think about was shaken baby syndrome because the baby just got brought into this world.
And you're shaking it around at hopscotch.
Right.
That's
At this point, the baby would have already been dead.
yep. But
So,
somehow the power of the CGI overpowered the realistic expectations of this, and it soldiered on.
but what did you think of the jump rope stuff? I thought that was actually pretty cool on how they handled the. I like the huge jump rope and things like that too.
Yeah. I like that game as well. I wasn't expecting them to drop that deep down. Like that is
Yeah.
like jumping off of a building high. That was scary to witness and just seeing the blood and stuff. Ugh.
And
Yeah,
then
very dark stuff.
you see the jump rope knock down all these other players at the same time.
Yes, at the end of the episode, he
Right.
told 456. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" The more players get knocked down, the more money for us. You're not seeing the vision. Is it not talking to you that I'm standing on business?
Right. Look, you're not seeing the full vision here. That's more money for us. So we're just gonna keep knocking players down.
And 456 is like, "No, sir."
Oh,
And they start fighting, and
if he was actually smart, he would have actually let those players live
yeah,
because that would have been more people in the bed, more of a chance to survive. But at the same time, though, it's still going to be between the baby and either way it goes, you're still screwed.
it's just you and the baby.
And then the front man also invites 456 up after the dinner scene and stuff too.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Look, I used to be just like you. I had the same thing that was happening to me that's happening to you right now." He goes, "Let me give you a knife." And he goes, "You can slit every single one of these players' throats and survive." But at the same time, though, I'm like, how? You still have to kill the baby. Either way it goes. So it doesn't really matter.
exactly. That would have been traumatizing if he still made 456 go through with the last game, knocking that baby off the pillar because they're the only two left.
Can you imagine
It
if
probably
there's like a different game being in place and if he did go ahead and kill everybody?
Oh yeah, that.
Is it going to be Walking My Baby or what? Because,
There's only one person that comes out of this 456.
right. And then even the people that are even questioning everything is like, has anybody ever won this thing more than once?
Yep.
And they never once had a player that actually would come back again to basically win the whole thing again.
Oh yeah, they were about the good fella that baby. The way they were ganging
Yeah.
up on him, like, why are we doing this game and this baby is here? I mean, understandable, but y'all think you're just gonna the guards gonna let y'all kill the baby before the next game? No, that's not how the game
They're also
works.
trying to persuade 456 though too. It's like, look, you don't know that baby. You just met this baby. You're not the
Then
father.
they start theorizing, unless it's yours. Like, no, it's not his. He's trying to care for it. Y'all want
And
to
then
kill it.
that old man got on my nerves. The old man that's in there too.
Yeah, what was his? Was it 100? Was it? What was his number?
I think
I
so.
couldn't stand him.
But he got on my
Yep,
nerves.
100.
Yeah. Player 100 got
Couldn't
on my
stand
nerves.
him. How about we do lots? We draw lots, and we can save the baby, or perhaps like you just want that money.
That's all it was. They just wanted that yin. That's all they wanted. But at the end of the day, it would still be between 456 and the baby, no matter which way you'd slice and dice it. But sorry. But
No matter how you slice and dice it. Okay,
yeah,
John.
But I was also thinking this too. I was actually rooting for 456 to slice everybody's throats, though too, so he could survive. But I was not thinking at that time until Tamika mentioned it to me. And she's like, even if he did do that, he would still be with the baby, and there will still be a different outcome with that. I'm like, okay, so much for me rooting for it.
And I
Um,
was like, wait a minute, what kind of scheme is this front man setting up?
you know
And
what
they
else
want
I
to
was
get
thinking
all
though?
willy nilly with it.
Like, I was thinking the front man also gave other people knives too,
Ooh,
and
that
he
would
had secret meetings with these other players, and they all. This is what I was thinking, and I was thinking, okay, he can't be the only one that he talked to. Yes, they had this bond between each other. Yes, but it was fake.
mm-hmm.
But he's not even on 456's friend list if you think about it. But I was thinking, well, maybe he had this meeting with all the other players too, to where they expect him to slit their throats, and everybody else has knives.
Yeah,
But no,
that would have been
it's.
interesting.
I think that would be cool though if he did give everybody else's knives.
Right? 456 tries to do something, and the old man is like, watch this. Shit.
And
Like,
guys,
whoa,
yeah,
where did they get the knives from?
but that's just my thinking on that. But then we get into this other thing now where they have to bump each other off the cliffs,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how are they going to do this now? And then you see player 333 getting the pole, and then all of a sudden he's on 456's side. He goes, "I'm on your side."
Yeah, I wonder why. Illegitimate.
Even player 100 is like, he's not really on your side.
Right. He's not for you.
He's not for you. He was on our side a few minutes ago, wanting to kill you. What makes you think that he's on your side? He goes, man, I was just playing
Snitches
with
get
him.
stitches. And he got stitched.
Right. But he's like, I was just playing with them, man. Here's the thing. I was just trying to strategize and try to make them think that I was, you know, I was going to backstab him, not backstab him or anything, because I want the baby, because that baby is mine.
Yep.
And then he starts knocking everybody else off with the pole and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, and then there's also the other thing too, where the blade that 456 has breaks. And I'm like, well, that had to be a cheap blade.
Provided by the front man. Very, very
Right.
cheap. Had a budget of $1.15
Since
at the Dollar Tree.
plus tax.
Well, yeah, plus tax. You can't forget the tax.
Right. But, I'm just horrified at the fact that now it's going to be either the baby or him now. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, how is this going to go? Because and then he winds up sacrificing his own self to save the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was actually pretty neat. Like, you have this character arc of this guy who was in depth in season 1. Then you have in season 2 where he winds up being the one person that knows the games, knows how to survive the games, and trying to help people out of this situation that they put themselves in. And he's playing the game along with them still, trying to help them survive. And then you realize there's no hope for them because they are who they are. And now he has to try and protect the one innocent person out of this whole entire thing that didn't even ask to be there.
True.
Which is the baby. Which I just want to mention, and we'll get into this one little part later on that I want to talk about. But then let's talk about this. We got John Saho, who's actually the other not detective, but he was committed to saving Jihan and ending the game.
Mm-hmm.
This was the guy that I was telling you about that was that winds up getting arrested at the police station.
Yes.
And he goes, man, I'm telling you, there's a secret lair that they have. There's an island, and we're trying to look for it. I'm trying to tell you. And they're not listening to him. And this happens to be the boat captain of there is actually in on it with the police department.
Yep. Plot twist.
So I like the plot twist with this because now it connects it even further. And then even with the other guys that were doing the Russian roulette, and his own partner got killed in season 2. And then you also have the same thing with 456 with the Russian roulette, but you have that recruiter that is both captain's son. So I
Yeah.
thought that was very interesting.
It made for a very interesting twist. So shall we talk about the mauling, or should we save that for like the CGI talk later?
We we could talk about the CGI dog because we already talked about the CGI baby. So the only way that we can talk about that now is the CGI dog.
Yeah, that mauling sequence was pretty brutal either way, but you could definitely tell. As somebody who kind of had a fear of Rottweilers as a kid, I'm better now. But it's very clearly CGI, made
Definitely.
with the budget of $5.50 plus tax.
But
But
heck,
you know,
even you saw the very first Candyman movie, right?
it's been a minute, but yes, I have seen it.
There is a Rockweiler in that movie,
It was.
and the head winds up becoming decapitated in that movie, and that was more realistic than this CGI dog that we have here.
Which makes me wonder if ASPCA said you better not put a real dog in the show because they knew it was gonna get shot.
I could just see, look, we don't have a trainer available for your show, but let's go in and put a CGI. Let's CGI the dog.
Yeah, so we won't get any phone calls from ASPCA, PETA, and Sarah McLachlan with the telephones off on them. Please call to save this dog.
But I understand that it served its purpose and it was just there for a few minutes and that was it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I don't really care. I mean, I wanted to see how this is gonna go down at the police station more than anything.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And
I
then we
felt that
have
that was kind of weaker. One of the weaker
right,
parts.
but we also have the detective who's also the front man's son that's still trying to find the island, which I call
Mhm.
Dora the Explorer. But it goes to every single island to try and uh find it and everything, and he still can't find it. And it was actually the other guy that knew what to look for
Yeah.
stuff. Which that goes to show you the difference between street smarts and book smarts.
Oh, okay. Book smart. Not boat smart. Book smart. Okay.
Right. Because I think that the detective is smart, he's a good detective, but at the same time though, he doesn't have that street smart kind of thing to actually know um what the outside world is in the sense, I guess. While the guy
Mhm.
who is on the street level and has the street smarts and stuff knows what's going on.
Oh yeah,
That
for
makes sense.
sure. Yeah, vast difference between those two. Very, very vast difference. You can see it.
But then you have the female guard that's trying to that let the one of the players fake his death, so he can escape. So my first thing was like he's gonna run into the police captain's boat and they're gonna save him. That's the paint by the numbers kind of thing that I see all the time, especially with it being foggy and stuff during that escape scene.
True. Yeah, unpredictable. Anything could happen.
But is there anything that you wanted to cover though? I mean, I know that I've been rambling a little bit here and with it.
Well, there were. Let me see. Let me look at my notes here. We'll probably run it back to the baby. Probably save the American stuff at the end, like you told me earlier. Yeah, that last game where they were doing the lots, I think I kind of got into that. That made for an interesting setup. I don't know how they thought that was going to work, considering that 4, 5, 6 beat this once. You don't think that the sharpest guy in the entire corral would kind of realize that something's kind of off with how y'all kind of doing this teaming up and planning thing? It's very.
Right. It's like we're gonna join alliances and we're gonna team up and do this. And even the front people are like this. The ones who is watching is like, I think that never works. even
True. Exactly.
because
And that's
even 456 in season one also had to learn that too. It's like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter how much you try to team up with somebody. That someone is either gonna backstab you because it may be just a one person game to where you don't need a partner.
Yeah. See how fast they turned on each other when things went left.
And right.
Yes, and in the middle.
Right. Like Malcolm.
Yes.
But then we have this whole entire thing now where the front man winds up taking the baby. He winds up coming up with in an elevator, like he said on
And
Rock
the brother's
Bottom.
there. Why did you do it? Yeah, he could have been a great rock entertainer. Like, this is front man with Kiss. And the brother's like, why did you do it? Why did you do it? I'm like, why aren't you shooting him? He's literally close proximity. I guess probably not to hurt the baby, but still, he's right there.
But also too, you don't know too if that's bulletproof glass or not either.
Oh yeah.
Because remember, he did shoot, and it was actually just a giant jumbo TV screen. That
Yes,
sucks.
very elaborate. And that had a budget of $575.67 plus tax.
A lot of Samsung TVs got destroyed that time.
And we bow our heads. Thank you,
They
Samsung.
will be missed.
Yes.
But then you have the front man. He winds up taking the baby, and then he winds up giving the baby a bank account because she's the winner of this whole entire thing. I'm like, if you think about it, though.
Yes, talk about it.
If this was a team project, and I said, "Hey, look, I need you to come up with a group project, and I need it done by Monday."
Right.
Okay, I'm going to team you up with 456, 100, and then you're going to get the baby.
Oh, me and 100 probably would have been scrapping. Mike Tyson style.
But here's the thing, though. That baby didn't do a shit.
Right, that baby didn't do shit.
No, it's like a group project. You always had that one slacker out of the whole entire group that you did, and he's like, "So what did you do?" "Oh, I colored in the grass over there."
Right. What did you do? I researched the pieces here that to be put up in here. What did you do?
Right.
I wrote pieces of this thing here. What did you do, little baby? Goo goo gaga.
Right. It's like he got a participation trophy for just being there, and he got the money. So
yeah, I would have took that credit card. Said, "Man, some kids, I'm taking this card. Give it back to charity. Feel less guilt for taking it."
The front man also goes over to 456's house and visits the daughter, which I thought was a touching thing because the daughter's like, "I haven't seen my father in like over 4 or 5 years or anything." Because this is his belongings. And he wanted to have this. And he winds up giving her the money that he won.
Wow.
So he could have actually been like, you know what? I can use this money for my next Squid Game season.
Oh yeah, he definitely could have. The $700 billion plus tax.
Right. But I like that scene though, because of the fact there is some human about him. Where it's like, I feel bad that your dad died. He would want you to have this. But you would think that they would actually wash his bloody clothes.
He said he has some heart, but not too much heart.
Right.
Don, come on.
It's like, here's your clothes that your dad wore and died in. But I'm also giving you a card.
Right. He kind of distract from the fact. Here's all of his blood and his ashes. But you get a card. Here you go.
Right.
Hey,
here you go. Now you can buy all the Tide you want to bleach out your dad's blood.
Right. And start a life for yourself and the family. Then let me get out of here before I have too much heart. He got right back in his black car. Zooted away before she could come back out and say something to him.
But I thought that there was a little bit of a human side to him. Just him giving her the card, giving her a shot. Hold on. Juice WRLD shorts. Really? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and ban you.
Well, was that the front man?
Not unless he's actually advertising XXX tension and Juice WRLD shorts.
Okay, I don't think the front man knows either of those people. I know them, but I don't think he knows them.
So there you go, people. If you it is on the daily too, by the way. You can get XXX 10 action and Juice WRLD shorts.
That would be funny if he came to the daughter's door and was like, "Yeah, your dad is dead. Here's his bloody clothes. But here's some free merch of
Hold on. You get a Squid Game hat. You also get a Squid Game t-shirt. And then for Halloween, don't worry, I got you for that. You know, we got you the pink jumpsuits that we wear,
Yeah.
and the triangle mask to go with it.
Or you could get the green jumpsuits. It's up to you. All for the
Right.
price of $59.99 plus tax. But don't
Which
forget
here
the Corey
we
Kenshin
take
shorts.
Apple Pay for the $1 billion that you have. So here you go.
Yeah. We don't do
But
Amazon Pay, Jeff Bezos.
you know, and then you had that one scene with Kate Blanchett. Now it's supposed to be incorporated into the American version that we're
Yeah.
getting. Do you like the fact that they're doing an American version of this, or do you feel like that it should have just been this one show with no spin-off or anything?
Well, just like how things are going in this country right now, I'm just kind of indifferent. I probably will tune into it though if there's, cast members, I'm probably interested in seeing. But I mean, it could go places, America, hello. It was just nice that it would kind of be a standalone thing, but David Fincher helming it kind of has me a little bit intrigued, just a tiny bit. Maybe if Kate
Like,
Blanchett is the front woman.
I think she's just a recruiter like everybody else is. I don't think she's.
Yeah, the
But
creator,
the way
the
that she's
creator was
looking
funny.
at what?
Go ahead. I'll tell you
No,
what I was
no,
about to say. Well, I was watching the behind the scenes after the show. The creator said that Kate was actually struggling with the card game and throwing it down, and when she actually looked at the camera, that was the take they used because she actually got it right that time.
that's why it looks so awkward. Okay, got it.
Yeah, she was struggling with it, and her and the front man filmed their scenes separately through the time.
But I think that there was this like just seeing them go face to face with each other right at the very end. I feel like
Hmm.
it's a mutual respect thing. What do you think? Like between two people that are
Yeah, I think it's partial respect and partial girl. You're struggling with those cards, but I think it's also a good partial respect between two different
right
entities at the end. Opens up some possibilities, especially maybe the front man could make a cameo in the American version.
and teach the
No,
Americans how to play these games because we don't know
they
because we
probably right, right. Name 20 countries. That would be the first game.
but let's see. And then you finally get the bank accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought it ended pretty good. I mean, if I had to put them in order, I would go season 2 is my number 1, season 1 would be 2, and this would be my the last.
Okay.
I just feel like
I
that there was
yeah.
more. I'm not saying the baby had anything to do with it or anything like that,
No,
but
the baby definitely had a lot to do with it for me. And Dora the Explorer side plot. It was struggling in some parts of the twist, like I said. Yeah.
right, because I remember you even told me like I don't know if I can do this or not because of
Yeah, that first episode, the slow burn, the build up, I'm like, I don't know if and you reminded me like it's a hit, but I was like, I really want to do Clifford now, because at least with Clifford, we have something to do. We could put him in the game in the American version.
now I want someone to do
No.
AI and put Clifford in the Squid Game now.
Or CGI him or something. No,
Right.
I don't want to play this game.
But okay, so we talked about the Hitman. We also talked about Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we're missing out of this?
Let me see.
Because
Making sure we covered everything. I think we got mostly everything for the most part. Um, yeah. The island evacuation.
yeah, the island evacuation.
Mm, It's like I'm the front man, reading, making sure everything is in order. Um, yeah, looks like we covered everything for the most part. Did you have anything else to say about the VIPs? I hated their asses, but
I
did
hated
you
the
have anything to say
VIPs.
about them? Yeah, I hated them. Just how smug they are. Oh, what's gonna happen next? The baby's gonna be in the game. It's just
And then also too, looking at this is a very smart move, front man. This is a very smart move to put the baby in the game.
and how they dressed up as the masked people. I'm like, man, fuck y'all. Oh,
Exactly.
so
But even them dressed up as the mask people, I prefer the season 1 VIPs versus these VIPs.
Yeah, because they weren't inserted as much as they were
Right.
here.
But
But
also too, the
here it was
masks
just
look a
every
lot
other
better in
day.
season 1 compared to
They
this.
did. But the front man has to downgrade. He's got to save his money. This is post COVID. You got to save
Uh,
your money,
well, that's true
and this
because he is going to
economy.
be going into the United States, and we're going to be, how the United States are with our tariffs and stuff. So,
Yeah, no.
so yeah,
Yeah,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for wanting to downgrade a little bit.
I don't blame him either. Make the match as
So,
cheap as possible.
but yeah, I just think I think it was an okay season finale. The way they ended it. It wasn't
Yeah,
lacklustering. I felt invested into it. I felt bad for the characters I was attached to.
yeah.
The other part that I thought that was funny was when the mother tries to feed 456 and he still doesn't want to eat anything. He goes, "You need your strength. You need to eat." And he's just staring at that
Was
one.
this when he was still trapped to the handcuff, or was that
Yeah,
the
he was
second
still
scene?
handcuffed.
Yes, I would be that way too. Like, lady, leave me alone. My hand is going limp.
What makes you think
Handcuff
that
the
I
man.
want to eat anything with my hands being handcuffed?
Right, I need to have both. Unless you're trying to be, but still, I'm not in the mood. I
I'm
didn't
not
want
in
to
the
eat.
mood.
I'm not in the
But
mood.
yeah, all in all, good season. But it's going to be interesting on how they handled the American version. And I would love to
Yeah,
see this front man come into the United States, even
I
though the
would
director
too.
has no plans to do any more of Squid Game. But I would like to see some of the characters incorporated into the United States version.
Yeah, I would too.
Like with the front man, I think that you can do a lot with.
That would be such an Avengers thing. Just have the front man come back and maybe 4, 5, 6 in the flashback. He knew one of the American characters because his daughter was in LA. So
And then
maybe.
they, I guess, change his name to something American.
Right. John Hun or something.
John Woo.
Everybody's John or Mark.
I'm Mark Burge. I don't know.
Yeah, something random. As long as it starts with a J and M or
Right. But yeah, good season. How would you rank them though? I know I gave you my ranking.
um, I would probably go 1, 3, and 2. Uh, 2 was hit or miss, bit too slow burning for me in points. Not a bad season though, but I think 3 kind of
Yeah, I
upped
can
the
understand
stakes
that
for
it's
me
a
in the
little bit of a slow
games.
burn.
Yeah. I think the slow burn was handled better, but I think the games were handled better in season 3 for me. And a little bit more memorable, simply because
I don't know. The
the
American go
dread.
around, the American go,
Oh yeah, that one. I like the little visual for that one. That's probably the most visually stunning one. That was pretty. Reminds me of the mall. I used to go in the mirror when I was a kid. Just going on those, just less, dark and not getting eliminated. But yeah,
right.
it's good.
All right, guys. So our question for you is: what was your favorite moments on Squid Game season 3? What was your weakest moments? What were some of the other favorite parts? Did you like some of the stuff with Dora the Explorer and his sidekick? Did you
And that CGI baby.
like the CGI baby? Did you like the CGI dog? What was your full thoughts on Squid Game season 3? Tell us in the comments below. Also, too, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I will be back again. I will be reviewing The Departed.
Mm.
So I'll be doing that with It's Not That Bad podcast. So go ahead, check that out whenever we do that. So always until next time, guys, have a great safe night, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.